Welcome to the Leadership Snapshot Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Sarah Andrews. Each episode, we focus on leadership topics, concepts, and ideas that'll help you develop your leaders and develop yourself. So stay tuned. We have a lot to talk about. So my guest today is Philip Davis. He's a pastor of leadership development, spiritual formation, and global engagement. And Philip, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit more about what are you doing?
Funny, I'm like that one position. I was at a conference recently, a leadership conference, and they said, if you're a senior pastor, raise your hand. And of course, our senior pastor there, he raised his hand. Youth pastor, raise your hand. Our youth pastor raised his hand. Then they said, if you have the job that it takes more than 10 seconds to tell somebody, raise your hand. And like, I was one of the few that went up. So that's me. Basically what I do is I oversee all of our spiritual formation environments. So all of our teaching, anything from a class to a life group, which is like our little pocket communities that meet all around our town. I oversee those and just help develop the leaders of those classes, of those groups. And really for our entire organization, I get to help pioneer some of the leadership development and the spiritual, mental, emotional health of our volunteers. And I get to preach a lot, which is really fun for me too.
You believe the key to leading well is self-awareness and social awareness. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes, of course. Yes. I really think that emotionally healthy leaders are those who are aware, not just aware of themselves, but aware of other people. When you're self-aware, you can move through the emotions that come with leadership, no matter if you're leading at church or in the workspace or in the home, wherever it's going to be. And then the more self-aware you become, the more socially aware you can become, because you can start to understand and recognize maybe the reason other people react to certain things in your leadership or certain stimulus in their environment, and you can help them also become more self-aware. I really think it's a key to resolving conflict in the workspace. We're very passionate about that in my organization because as a church, conflict is anywhere where there's people. We like to resolve conflict, and the more self-aware we are, the better we can do that.
So you talk a little bit about life and leadership coaching.
That's kind of a little personal ambition. I listen to several podcasts now. Yours is one of them.
Oh, thank you.
But a lot of yeah, absolutely. I love listening. But there's like podcasts I listen to by an author that I really love and admire, and he challenges you to really chase your ambitions. And I started wondering, like, all I've ever done since college is what my college degree is in. And I thought, well, why did I want to go into ministry in the first place? And it was to help people and to help people see that there's hope in our lives and there's hope in the world, and just to help them to be better. That led to this whole idea of, okay, well, I discovered this enneagram, and it's made such an important impact on my life, on my marriage, just even on my ministry, everything. Could I maybe take what I'm learning there and coach people in it? Do people even do that? And then I found out they did. It's like a big thing, apparently. So I just started to write. I started to create a blog and just started to write little posts on, like, here's what I'm discovering. Here's how you can maybe discover this to be more self-aware. Got to speak at a place, a church recently. It was my first ever come speak for us gig. So it was really exciting for me. And now I've got a couple other of my peers that are asking me to come and do trainings for their staff and their leaders. So I'm really excited.
So your blog, if somebody wants to go check it out, what's the address?
Philip Davis Leadership. That is it. And you'll have to search for it because I'm not that well known yet. So philipdavisleadership.com, and then you'll find it. It's really simple. It's just got a front page, and I talk about three big things: faith, fitness, and leadership. And then you can go to the blog and you'll find just a bunch of stuff that's, I hope, helpful to people.
Awesome. So tell us more about the enneagram. I'm familiar with it, but I bet a lot of my listeners are not.
Yeah, well, I was just actually listening to one of your interviews today with a lady. Apparently, she's a good friend of yours, and I perked up because she said she's an Enneagram 8, and I'm like, oh man, because I'm an 8 as well. So the Enneagram, when I describe it to people, it's actually like, it's, as far as I know, the oldest personality typing system, profiling system that we have, and people don't even really know where it came from. And what I found is one of my degrees is in church leadership. I have like a dual degree preaching in church leadership. And what we did in the church leadership side is do like the DISC personality profile, the Myers-Briggs, Strengths Finders, all that. And what I found with the Enneagram is it actually takes all of the best of those systems and it puts it into one. And what I love about the Enneagram is once you discover your type, helps make you a lot more self-aware, but it also makes you socially aware because there's 8 other types that you could potentially run into other than just yours. And it helps you understand maybe where somebody else is coming from. And a short version is just, it's the way people view the world. There's 9 different ways people view the world. And there's a whole bunch more that goes into understanding the Enneagram, but it's so neat to be able to see all these different perspectives and then how to like love on them and how to encourage them in work.
I love that. Thank you for taking the time to share that information with us. This is a topic that I have been really thinking about a lot lately, and it's mastering the unbusy. I loved that you put that on as something for us to talk about because I believe, and this is Sarah, but I believe that because people have not mastered that, it's hard for them to refill themselves and they can't give anything because they're so busy being busy that there's no substance to it. So tell me about your thoughts on it.
Man, you just summed it up so you can hit end record. That's perfect. Yeah, that's exactly it. So that idea came to me from a mentor, because I think healthy leaders have like good mentors, and I'm sure you know this, that you have pour into you and then you can pour into them. And I sat down with this guy. He's a pastor of another church in our community. I said, hey man, like how do you juggle all the busyness of ministry? Like, man, like I'm in an executive role now at our church and it's just a lot. And he said, Philip, because I am just trying to master being unbusy. I'm like, whoa, tell me more, man. And he told me that he makes sure that he has time for relationships. That's really what he means, because like you said, if you're not taking the time to fill yourself up and investing in the relationships that are important to you, you have nothing else to give. And church leaders are really great with saying give out of the overflow. But the alarming thing is that sometimes we don't really have that much overflow, because we're so busy trying to encourage people and keep people happy and just be there for everybody, which is admirable. But then we aren't there for ourselves or the people that really are going to be there long after maybe our position ends or something like that. For me, to be unbusy, and I really do this because I know people ask me, and I can show you my journal if for proof, but I limit myself to 3 big things that I do each day that will move the mark. And that's how I stay unbusy. So if someone says, hey, I need you to do this, and if it doesn't move the mark that day, I just log it as something I'm going to get at another time. And those things that are maybe urgent, but I call them small rocks, the things that don't really move the mark on your big goals, on your ambitions, I'll schedule times throughout the day. I got the term from Michael Hyatt called rituals, and daily rituals that I'll do at different times of the day to make sure that I'm moving those small rocks, like email follow-up, people wanting to call and talk, that kind of thing. And it's not that I don't value those. It's just those aren't things that are going to help me be the most effective when I'm at the office so that I can be really present and effective when I'm at home. So I really do. I keep myself to 3 big things each day and a maximum of 3 to 4 other tasks each day. And then I just make sure there's meetings I have to say no to, because, and they're meetings that even other staff over me expects me to be at. But if I feel like I have been busy that week, I would just say no. And I just don't go. I do let them know.
Yeah, we would hope so. Good communication there.
Yeah.
So I know for myself, last year was the first year that I was in business for myself, and it was challenging. And I think I learned a really good lesson about being unbusy, because I wasn't busy. And I would tell everybody, oh, I wish I was busier. Oh, I wish I was busier. And I think not being busy actually helped me. Yes. And this year, as I'm getting busier, I'm like, no, I'm not going to be busy being busy. I'm going to make sure I'm prioritizing what I'm working on, because I want to have an impact, not just be busy.
Oh, I love that. I love that impact word too. You said you know a lot about the Enneagram, or a little bit about the Enneagram. Well, the 8s, which is what I resonate with, they're known as having the highest energy level of all the other types. They have so much energy, and I know that's true with myself. I think my wife could attest to that as well. And I'm always looking for the next thing and the next hill to climb. And that just keeps me so busy, because then I can't really focus on the now and the projects that I'm doing now. I'll just get them started. And then I can delegate and have other people keep them going, but I'm not like pouring myself into them. And then I'm finding when I'm at home, my mind's still busy. So I think it's more than just doing actions. But if my mind is still at work or thinking about the next task to climb or hill to climb or whatever, I'm finding that still, even if my mind's still busy, I'm not truly unbusy. So it's a thing now where I decompress and I'll go do something like work out, or I'll read, or I'll journal. And I'm finding that I am just really enjoying work a lot more over the past year that I've learned this. And I just feel like I'm more productive.
Because you're getting the important things done.
Yeah. And then when I am sitting down to work, I'm working really hard for a few hours on a project, and then I can check that off my big 3, and I'm like, man, that feels good. And then I actually watch the mark move each time, and then I'm able to be home and be present. So yeah, I love that you were able to do that, to take the time when you were starting that business to be unbusy, and you got a taste for what that looks like. That's awesome.
It was a little stressful because I'm a very much a go. And the thought of having a whole day with I didn't have something to do was odd for me for a while. But I think I truly believe it did help me learn that it's not about being busy.
Did you maybe feel like, I know this was the case with me, but when you weren't busy, did you feel guilty about it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Me too. I'm like, man, if I'm not doing something, I just feel guilty and unproductive. And I'm found as being unbusy and not always feeling like I have to be moving has caused me to realize something, that I was maybe overemphasizing my need to be busy as a way to numb, like truly discovering who I was and caring for myself, and then investing in relationships around me. Being busy was a way to just be lazy on those other things. So it's really helped me a lot.
I think that's a good insight. I think we can use being busy as an excuse not to invest in the most important relationships we have.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I'm just so excited about this. My wife and I found out we are going to be parents for the first time in June. So,
congratulations!
I am like beside myself excited. We actually find out tomorrow. I know you're recording this today. We'll find out tomorrow what we're having. And I'm thinking, like, this whole unbusy thing, I've been thinking about it for a while, but now I'm like, oh man, I want to really master this because I want to be able to be present for a baby boy or girl.
Oh, that is so awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So I'm super excited about that for you guys, because you just signed up for a huge project and now you get all the curriculum that goes along with what is it like to be a parent.
Yeah. And it's like scary and fun and exciting. I really can't put a finger on what it exactly is, but it's awesome. But yeah, I'm very excited. And I'm excited to see these things that I feel like I've been preparing for, like being unbusy and keeping myself limited to being focused. Like, I hope that really helps me as a parent, and maybe I can help somebody else along the line. So
awesome. Philip, thank you so much for being on my podcast today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
If you enjoyed this podcast, make sure you subscribe so that way you can hear new podcasts that come out every week. Embrace your journey, and we'll talk to you next week.